Hi friends, it's Mari for Honeybee Stamps. I'm going to be creating this really awesome mini slimline card here for you today using lots of Honeybee products, including the Love You Bunches stamp and coordinating die set. If you take a look, this is the Love You Bunches. Love the floral that comes with this, as well as all of these amazing sentiments. And the coordinating die set cuts out that bouquet as well as all of these coordinating sentiments. I'm also going to be using the floral bouquet wrap die. This is just a really, really cool die that's going to wrap up that floral bouquet. And I also wanted to use the Radiant Heart background stencil today for my project. So those are just some of the products that I'm going to be using to create the project I wanted to do today. Now I'm going to be using a mini slimline format today, and that's a 6 by 3.5 inch card. And I'm measuring out the 6 by 3.5 inch dimension here on my Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock. I'm measuring the dimensions out, and then I'm going to actually cut the card front for my card today using my one of my slimline dies from Honeybee. This is the Slimline Sentiment stitched die, and what I wanted to show you here is how you can adapt your longer full-size sentiment dies to a mini. This is also the sentiment dies that come with that set, which is absolutely awesome. I love the large scrolly words that come with that as well. And here I'm just showing you all of those different words that come with that die set. And now I'm just going to show you how I adapted this larger die into a mini, which is 6 by 3.5. So here you can just see that I cut it once, and then I just cut it again by shifting the die down, and there you can see you end up with that stitched edge finish all the way around the edge of your card panel. Now I'm going to take one of my Honeybee blending brushes, and I'm going to blend on some Gina K ink through the Radiant Heart background stencil. I wanted to use the plain heart rather than the Radiant Heart for my card today for the background. So I'm just going to take a little bit of washi tape and just stick my cardstock down to my mat here. And I'm also going to do the same thing with the stencil. There's a few different ways you can adhere your project to your surface. This is just one way. And here you can just see I'm going to start to blend on my pink ink. I think this is Gina K Dusty Rose, possibly. It's one of the Gina K pink inks. And I'm just going to blend this ink through this stencil. I'm really speeding this up here because this is a really, really simple, easy process. It's not difficult at all to do this. I do want to just mention that if you want to make sure that you don't blend through the Radiant Heart section of your die, you can just tape that off as I did there. And also if you're concerned about the white space there you can just see I actually went over the edge of my stencil a little bit. I'm not worried about it because my bouquet is actually going to cover that up, and so I'm not worried about that. But just so that you know, that heart is pretty close to the edge of the stencil, so just to be aware that if you do go over the edge, you will get a little bit of a line. So just make sure that you're taking note of that when you're blending your ink. And I just wanted to do a little bit of off the edge blending here as well and get the whole background covered with these hearts. I think this is really, really super pretty, and it's going to look really nice with that Love You Bunches floral that I'm going to be adding here as well. So I just really love the idea of how you can adapt your larger slimline dies to create a mini slimline as well. And you can, there actually are lots of ways that you can use this mini slimline format as well. So here you could just see that I'm just tapping on a little bit of gold spray. This is just some gold mist from my stash. I think this one is a Heidi Swapp Color Shine. And I just wanted a little bit of pops of gold on my card today, just because I think pink and gold is just a really, really pretty combination. So there, that is all dry, and you can see that my card is slowly coming together here. I do have a pink cardstock base for my card, and there you can also see that I have the floral bouquet wrap cut from some vellum from my stash that has little gold hearts on it. I'm going to use that as part of the wrap around my bouquet. I'm actually going to use a little bit of pattern paper later. You'll see in my process. I'm going to now stamp out that beautiful Love You Bunches floral. And I'm going to do a little bit of Copic coloring. So I'm using a Copic friendly ink here, just stamping that out again on some Neenah Solar White cardstock in my Mini Misty. And I've got that all ready to go now. I'm going to do some really basic coloring. I'm just going to show you how I colored one of the flowers because I do the same thing for every one of the flowers on here. And I'm using a color combination of R81, 83, and 85 from Copic. And you know, I mean, obviously just use whatever coloring technique you love to do on your projects. This is such a beautiful image. I absolutely love it. It was super easy for me to color this with my Copics, just using a really, really simple 3-color blend, going into the darkest areas there where I felt like there might be a little bit of a shadow to create some depth on this floral. And you'll just see that I colored the whole flower with the lightest color first, went in and laid down my shadows with the medium color, darkened those shadows with the darkest color, and then went in with the lightest color again and blended it all out. And that's just as simple as it gets here with Copic coloring on Mari's cards. So never try to spend too much time when I'm doing the Copic coloring. I like to do just a really, really easy, simple blend. I have sped this up quite a bit, but the coloring did not take me very long at all, and I was pretty happy with how it looks in the end here. So using a couple of greens, YG23 and YG25, just a 2-color blend here, and I think I end up going in with a darker green here, the YG67, to lay down some of the deepest shadows for the leaves and all of the green areas. Now, of course, like I said, there is a fantastic coordinating die that you can purchase to go along with your Love You Bunches set, and there you can just see that die just cuts that out beautifully. It's so pretty. I love that image. I will say it again, it is gorgeous. The Love Letters 6x6 paper pad is another one of the Honeybee's fantastic 6x6 paper pads. Love their paper so much, and I wanted to cut one of the papers. You can just see there it's got the pink back on it and then the really pretty pink and white floral in it, and I've cut that as well from that floral bouquet wrap, and now I'm just going to wrap the vellum over top of it. I just think that looks really pretty and just adds more texture and layers to the card, just a little bit more detail. And there you can just see how that bouquet fits nicely into the wrap, and I just think this is such a cool idea. So now I'm just going to use a mini glue dot to close my wrap up. I will also use a little bit of vellum adhesive on that vellum to adhere the vellum to the pattern paper. Just make sure your container's open, Mari, when you want to use your adhesive. And there you can just see that's all finished and ready for the next step. Now I did want to add a little more texture onto this wrap as well, and I am going to just take a little bit of gold twine and tie that on there again, just for a little bit more of that pop of gold. I just, like I said, love the pink and gold. I think it's so pretty, so stunning, just really soft. And I do find that this card did turn out to be just a really, really nice soft touch. So there, I'm just going to wind that around the wrap a few times. I'll tie a knot and then a bow, and then that will be all finished up. And I actually am going to secure that twine to the little wrap with a little glue dot, and I do that on the front and the back of the wrap as well. So I'll just put the little glue dot right behind the knot of that bow, and you can't even see it when the card is all finished here. So that is how I'm going to keep that bow attached to my little wrap. I've added some foam adhesive to the inside of that wrap there, so that when I add the flower bunch inside, that flower bunch will stay secured inside of the wrap with that foam adhesive, and it will be popped up off the back of that wrap. Now this is the Hugs Enclosed stamp set, which is so cool. There's so many neat parts to this stamp set. Not only is there that large 6x6 stamp, but there's also some tiny little envelopes, which are such cute little details that you can use to add to your projects. So I've stamped that out, and I'm going to use a coordinating die set to cut that little envelope out. I'm also going to die cut a sentiment for the inside of my card. This is from the Love You Bunches stamp set, and I've already referenced referenced that there are a zillion sentiments with that stamp set, which is so cool. And of course, a coordinating die set is going to cut this sentiment out for me, which is genius. Love that about Honeybee and their sentiments with the coordinating dies. Now I have popped that up on some foam adhesive, and I am going to pop that on the inside of my card. I actually don't put a sentiment on the front of my card for this one. I just didn't feel like I needed it with the statement that all of the other little bits are making on the outside of the card. I really love that on the inside, and you can just see how I put that little envelope tucked into behind the twine. Now I'm going to take my clear Wink of Stella and run that over top of each one of the florals here. Love how this just adds a little bit of sparkle, just a nice, really subtle shimmer that the Wink of Stella adds to your projects. I thought that really subtle shimmer just went well with these beautiful florals. I'm going to add that on. And once I've got that all on there, I will add a few more little details to my project here before I am finished. So I'm just going to go over that, just add a really, really light hand, a light touch of that Wink of Stella. And now I'm just going to take a little bit of gold stickles and add that to that little heart that's on the little envelope there. And I have adhered that with a glue dot onto that wrap behind the twine, as I mentioned. And I'll let that dry, and my card is going to be pretty much all finished. I'm going to add a little bit of white gel pen to my project just to add a few little highlights. But I really love how this card turned out. There are so many fantastic, beautiful stamp sets in the Honeybee shop. I have linked up to all of the different products that I used today from Honeybee, and make sure you check out the links in the description box below to all of the different things from the Honeybee shop. Really love that. I love that sentiment on the inside of this card too. I think it's super cool. And I'm just going to actually move the wrap over a little bit to the right, and I just wanted it to just be a little bit more centered. And you could definitely put this on an angle as well, but I really love how this fits so nicely on this mini Slimline card. And you actually, if you've got more of the Honeybee Slimline products, there's a few ways that you can definitely use those products for creating a mini Slimline. So make sure you consider that when you're thinking about what size and shape you want your card to be. The 6 by 3.5 format is actually a pretty cool shape. So now I'm just going to take my white gel pen and add a few little highlights here and there, just adding this in the area where I think the lightest spots might be on the different blooms and the leaves and so on, and just create a little bit of extra detail in that way. And that's going to be it for my card today. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got an idea of how you can adapt your larger slimline cards to a mini slimline. I think this is just a really, really fun size. Thanks so much for stopping by today. Make sure you check out Honeybee Stamps and all of the other social media platforms. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.